You're listening to a message from Cornerstone Community Church in Manteca, California. For more information on the church and what's happening here, visit cornerstonemanteca.com.
We're just so thankful for the cross today. Amen. I am so excited about today. Not just because it's Sunday morning and it's a great time to be together as a body of Christ, but we have invited a great friend of ours, Jay Reisner, to be with us on this special Father's Day celebration. And I met Jay about 30-something years ago. Actually, it was probably about 40 years ago. And I met him when he was children's pastor, and my wife was in his children's ministries program when she was in 6th grade. But I also worked under Jay as just an assistant to him, and he is the reason, he helped define my calling into ministry and helped me go to school and figure all that out. And he was children's pastor in Fremont, and he became a missionary in Africa. And Jay has had the privilege to travel around the globe, ministering to thousands upon thousands of children and families in Africa and all around the globe. And he has an exciting ministry, and we are so thrilled and so blessed to have him with us today. If you have kids, you want to make sure they're here and listening very carefully. It's a great message. If you've got younger kids and you want them to come in and listen, you can go and get them now in the preschool. But we want to welcome you, Jay, here, and want to thank you for being here. Would you put your hands together and let's welcome Jay Reisner.
Well, good morning. It's great to be back. I don't remember. I think it was maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago that I got to come and to see Pastor Scott and Michelle. You know you're getting old when the people that were in your children's ministry now have kids that are in your children's ministries, but it's great to see faces come down from Fremont or come over from Fremont, and it's great to see you here today. Let me ask, how many of you are here today? It's good number. Well, I'm glad you're here, and fathers, happy Father's Day. I'm glad I can say that. I picked up my phone and saw 3 of my girls wrote me. My son, he'll just tell me later. You want to do it right now? You want to say Happy Father's Day? Thank you, son. Well, I got to tell you, it's great to be here again and be back in California, even if it is going to be 110 degrees today. I will tell people that complain about your weather, just come to the Midwest and be in 90-degree humidity, and you will love being in this town. It's great to be here with you. I have 5 kids, Tanya, Shauna, Clayton, JJ, and Sadie. They're 36, 34, 32, 18, and 17. 1 wife. And JJ is of my kids is the only one that's here today. JJ, if you'd stand up, he's in the back running my music for me today. And I got 2 other gentlemen. They're like sons to me. My nephew Jacob, right here, studying to be a youth pastor, and then Austin, another gentleman who's traveling. The 3 of them, I probably have the greatest job in the world because I get to minister to kids all over the world. And we just got back from Kenya about 2 weeks ago, and now we're hitting the road for 8 straight weeks of 8 kids camps across the United States where we'll get to minister to kids. And 3 of them will be leading worship and doing a lot of things. You know, I'll never forget the fact that when I many times walk into a church, there are people that I get to know, but it takes a while. And how many of you know this morning, there are people in here that you do not know who they are? Okay? Well, listen, I think we need to take a second just to find out something about each other. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to have everybody stand up. Would you stand up, please? Now, let me just tell you, when Pastor Scott said, come and minister, I don't want a typical service with a missionary just preaching the whole thing. I want you to make it a fun service, and we're going to have fun, but we're going to hear from the Lord. This is how we're going to know something about you. If what I say pertains to you, then I want you to sit down. Like if I say, sit down if you have purple eyes, then you'll sit down and everybody will go, weird. So let's see how it works. Here we go. Sit down if anyone has ever told you that you snore. We have a whole family affair right over here. Yes. All right, sit down if you got the same socks on you had on yesterday. Oh. Pastor Scott, both your boys. All right, sit down if you had to check and see if they were yesterday's. All right, sit down if you've ever taken a piece of chewed gum and put it underneath a chair, a pew, a table. Honesty, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see if they get real honest. Sit down if you've ever pulled one of those pieces out and chewed it. Mike, did you just sit down? No, that wasn't you. Okay, just checking. All right, stand up if you plan on having a great Father's Day. All right? All right, sit down if you should be on a diet. Sit down if the person next to you should be on a diet. Somebody just got hit. All right. All right, sit down if you consider yourself good looking. All right, sit down if someone around you just lied. All right, and the rest of you, sit down if you love the Lord today. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you. You know, I love Father's Day and Mother's Day. I remember as a kid, my mom and dad, while they were, especially my dad, a very strong disciplinarian, he always looked for the best in his kids. And I loved that even in hard times, they'd always say, you can get through this. God's going to be with you. When I was 10 years old, I came down with diabetes. Your blood sugar should be 90 to 120. Mine was over 700. So they rushed me to the hospital and found out I had diabetes. And so can you imagine a 10-year-old boy going in and them hooking you up to an IV, trying to get the blood sugar leveled, giving you an orange, and have you practice giving shots to an orange? Now, how many of you know sticking an orange is different than sticking yourself? And I began to just wonder whether I was going to live or die. I heard the doctors talking, going, we don't know what's going to happen. And I was scared to death. And it was on the second day that a lady walked in, a chaplain. Well, let me back up. My parents came in 2 days later, and when they walked in, they brought me a box. And I didn't know what it was, and they said, when we leave, we want you to play with this, because we know you can do it. And when they left, I opened up a box, and what I pulled out was this Danny O'Day ventriloquist doll. Made out of plastic hair, plastic mouth. And I remember picking this up, and I remember seeing how someone could do ventriloquism. Had the string in the back of the neck, and I realized I could make the mouth open and close. And I remember sitting on my bed, no longer wondering about sticking an orange with a needle. But I grabbed him, and I began to pull on it. Hello, 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 hello. And I thought, I can do this. I just got to change my voice. And I remember grabbing him going, hello, hello, Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
And all of a sudden, I realized that I could do this. And I started practicing, and for 2 days, nothing else mattered. It was just grabbing him and making him talk.
That's right.
Thank you. And I'll never forget when the lady chaplain walked in. And she walked in and said, well, hello, Jay, I'm here to pray for you. And she said, well, who's that on the edge of your bed? And I picked up Charlie, and I said, well, this is Charlie. And she said, well, hello, Charlie. And Charlie looked at her and said,
Hello, lady.
she said, well, how are you?
I'm good.
And all of a sudden, we had a conversation. And when we got done, she said, you know, when you get out of the hospital, I want you to come to my church and do a program for our kids, do a story. And I looked at her and I said, lady, I don't know if I'll get out of the hospital. And she looked at me with a smile and said, no, you will get out of the hospital. God has a plan for you. And 3 weeks later, I got out of that hospital and went to their church and did a program with Charlie, and that just began to open doors. And when I turned 16, I got JoJo, who I still have today. You know, as a missionary working with kids, I've been in 39 countries around the world. And I think about everywhere that God has given us an opportunity to minister, but I think back that when that lady walked out of my hospital room, I remember picking up Charlie going, God, if you'll let me live, I'll use this for you. And it's like God looks at each of us and says, if you'll just give me what you have, watch the miracle that I can do. You see, God's got a plan for all of us. You know, this morning, I wish I could bring out Charlie. Charlie will be used at the kids' camp in Sonora tomorrow, and he's packed in my car. I'm sorry, Michelle, I just couldn't bring him out. But, Matthew, Pastor Matthew, could you come up here, please? Yeah, right up here. Is that your child and your wife back there? Hi, Becca. Right up here. In fact, we'll stand right up here. They can see. How are you?
Good. Need my glasses on?
No, why don't you take your glasses off? That would be good. That would be good. You know, Matthew, I was talking to Pastor earlier, and he told me he loves the staff. But I said, is there any staff member that needs a makeover?
Amen.
Matthew, welcome. Is it okay if we do you think it's okay if we give him a makeover this morning? Yeah, okay. Well, let's see here. I brought my makeover kit. Let's just get you ready here. There we go. Yeah, I think that's going to work pretty good.
So do I.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, that's good. Are you glad to be up here?
Yeah, I really like it. This is classic.
Yeah, it is. Well, listen, really, Matthew, I know you're running the sound. If you want to go back there,
No, I don't want to do it.
you want to stay up here.
Yeah, I want to stay up here.
Why do you want to stay up here?
Got to get used to it,
Why?
because I'm going to be the next pastor.
Oh, have you told Scott that?
Not yet. You're gone, dude.
Oh, stop that. It's okay.
I'm bigger.
I know you are. Hey, listen, I know this is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, cool. I'm not feeling good, though.
You're not feeling good?
No,
What's wrong?
my stomach hurts.
Your stomach hurts?
Yeah, it's got something in it I don't like.
What's that?
Your hand.
Oh, well, okay. I understand. Okay. Well, listen, I know this is Father's Day, and I just want to know, Matthew, is there anybody here that has really been like a father to you?
Yeah.
Who?
Pastor Scott.
Pastor Scott's been like a father to you?
Oh, yeah. He taught me a lot of things.
He taught you a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, what has he taught you?
First, he taught me how to build a budget,
How to build a budget,
make money.
how to make money. What did he teach you?
Got to know how to count.
Got to know how to count?
Yeah. You want to hear me?
Sure.
2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5, 6, 7,
yeah,
8, 9, 10,
yeah.
ace, king, queen, jack. Jackpot!
Oh, no.
That's how we build a budget here at this church.
Oh, really?
Jackpot!
Oh,
The secret's out.
oh, sorry. That's okay. Hey, is there anything else that Pastor Scott has taught you?
He's taught me how to preach, how to communicate.
He's taught you how to preach and communicate?
Yeah, I wasn't very good.
Well, hold it. I saw you do a kids thing, and when you got done doing the kids thing, I saw all the kids stand up and applaud.
They weren't applauding.
They weren't applauding?
No, they were slapping their faces trying to stay awake.
Well, I'm glad he's taught you more. Is there anything else he's taught you?
How to be kind.
How to be kind.
Yeah,
What happens if you're not kind?
well, ask my wife.
Well, oh, Becca?
Yeah. I said something mean the other day. She hit me.
She did.
Look at the side of my head.
Oh, you got a big old whelp there.
I said something and she threw tomatoes at me.
She threw tomatoes? You're telling me that tomatoes made that whelp?
They were still in the can.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, listen, so you got to be kind.
Yeah.
Is there anything else Pastor Scott has taught you?
yeah. He taught me how to sing and dance.
He taught you how to...
I can't believe I said that. This isn't very good.
What do you mean?
Everything you think, I say.
I know, that's part of this.
Yeah, I love to sing and dance.
Do you? Well, listen, this is church.
I don't care, I want to do it.
Oh, well, listen, you know I'm a missionary.
Duh.
Well, yeah, thank you. And I love to share Jesus all over the world. In fact, I'd like to sing a song about it.
Can I help you?
Yeah, you can.
Can I dance too?
Or you can do anything you want.
Okay. Hit it, JJ!
Go ahead, JJ.
Just thinking great thoughts. Oh, yeah. You gonna sing, Jay?
Yeah, I'm going to sing.
Today?
Yeah. When I was a young child,
Oh, yeah.
Christ came into my life.
He took away your darkness
Oh, yeah.
and gave you his pure light. That's why I wanna go.
Go tell it on the mountain.
Oh, yeah. Over the hills. Woo! Everywhere I wanna go.
Go tell it everywhere
That Jesus Christ.
is Lord.
My turn.
Okay.
Now as you work for Jesus, oh yeah, to share his gospel light, he'll guide you with his spirit and through his holy night. You gotta go
Tell it on the mountain.
oh yeah, down your street. At your school, you gotta go
Tell it everywhere.
that Jesus Christ is Lord. Clap along. You gotta go
Tell it everywhere now.
at your work, where you play. You gotta go
Tell it everywhere.
that Jesus Christ is Lord. You gotta tell it everywhere now. At your work, at your school, you gotta tell it everywhere that Jesus Christ is Lord. That Jesus Christ is Lord, 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 Lord. You gotta tell it, yeah!
Everybody give Matthew a big hand. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. I had nothing to do with that, okay? I will tell you, it's amazing, the people that don't know about ventriloquism. I've done this before, and they've walked up to the person like Matthew going, how did you say all those things? Not realizing it was me. Well, you know what? I think back to those young days of my father, who passed away, like I said, about 3 years ago. And my dad was a strong disciplinarian. But the thing is, I will tell you that my dad and my mom, I never remember one word that was a word of abuse to me. I never heard the words, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're an idiot. I never heard things that would put me down, but there was always tough truth. And it was back then, my dad said to me, he said, Jay, just look at the Bible, what it says about your mouth, your tongue. Realize that over 150 times in the Bible, it talks about the tongue, the mouth. And Proverbs 18 talks about the fact that our words have power to give life or to give death. And words are so important. And I want to share a story with you that talks about life, it talks about death, and how we need to give life in what we say. Pastor, I know it's church, but can I talk about a skunk this morning? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Little Johnny had a skunk, and even though his friends were few, everywhere that Johnny went, his friends would go,
We don't do those things here.
Oh, it's part of my message.
No.
It's what I want to talk about.
You'll just have to learn to do it like everybody else.
Well, in Manteca, they don't do things like everybody else.
You'll just have to learn.
Little Johnny... Little Johnny... Little Johnny asked. Well, the little boy went first day to school. He got some crayons and he started to draw. He put color all over his paper. All colors what he saw. And his teacher said to him,
What are you doing, young man?
Oh, I'm drawing flowers.
It's not the time for art.
Oh,
young
it's
man.
not?
And
Oh.
anyway, flowers are
Excuse
green
me.
and red. There's a time for everything,
yes,
young man. A way it should be done.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
You've got to show concern for everyone else, for you're not the only one.
Well, I'm only 6.
Flowers are red, young man.
They are?
Green leaves are green.
I thought they were all different
There's no
colors.
need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
But there's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone.
well, the teacher said, you're sassy. Now, there are ways things should be. Now, you paint flowers the way they are, so repeat after me. Flowers are red, young man. Green leaves are green. And there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
But there's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone.
Well, the teacher then put him in the corner and said, it's for your own good. Now, you won't come out till you get it right and are responding like you should. Well, that little boy, he got scared, and frightening thoughts went into his head. So he walked up to his teacher, and this is what he said. He said, flowers are always red, and green leaves, they're green. And there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have and always will be seen. Well, time went on like it usually does.
and that family moved to another town. Well, that little boy, he went to another school, but this is what he found. With a teacher there, she was smiling. She said, painting should be fun, and there are so many colors in a flower. Let's use every one. So that little boy started painting flowers again, but this time in even rows of green and red. And when his teacher asked him why, this is what he said. He said, flowers are always red, and green leaves, they're green, and there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have and always will be seen. But you know what? With God's help, our kids should be able to say, there's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone. There's so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone. Our words have power to give life or to bring death. And you know, the sad thing is, especially with kids, there are times you can hear a kid say, you know what, my friends and I say, we know we're joking, but when we hear something from an adult, it's truth. And can I just remind every single one of you, whether you're a child or whether you are a senior citizen, you were not born by accident. God does not make mistakes. And God has a plan for every single one of us. If we will just realize that we are somebody because of Him. But can I tell you, families and families of friends, that many times we forget that we need to realize that not only are we important to God, but we should be important to our family, and our family should let us know that we're important to them. You know, a lot of times we say, well, my family knows that I love them, but we let words get in the way like, clean up your room, don't play that music so loud. You don't take me anywhere, Dad. And words like that. But I think it's important that we learn to express to our family of friends, and those around us, learn to express to them the good qualities and the good things that we see in them. I'll tell you what, if we'd learn to do that, it would change our society. So right now, this is what I call family affirmation time. In just a second, I would like for you to finish this statement. The thing that I love most about you is, and then I want you to finish it. You know, JJ and Sadie, my 17 and 18-year-old, and my wife Debbie, if we were standing here, we could start with Debbie, and I could say, Debbie, the thing that I love most about you is the service and servant heart that you've always had for all the kids, for our entire family. And I love that about you. And then JJ and Sadie could say something to them. And then I could turn to JJ. Hey, son. And say, you know, JJ, the thing that I love most about you is the way that no matter where we go, the way you want to give a helping hand, the way you jump in, the way you want to just be there to be my right-hand man. And I love that. And we'd all say something to him, and then we'd go to Sadie. And I would say, Sadie, the thing I love about you is you got this sounds bad to say this, a wild, just go after it attitude. And I do love that about you. See, we'd say something, and I want you to do this. And so in just a second, I'm going to have you stand, and I want you to gather up as your immediate family of friends. And if you're a visitor today, somebody make sure no one's standing by themselves. Invite them in.
Now, the SWAT team is at the back doors. No one can escape. But we'd love for you to finish the statement. The thing that I love most about you is, and do that with your group. You'll know it's time to continue when I get back up here. So would everyone stand, please? And on this Father's Day, would you gather up if your father's here or with your family of friends and finish the statement, the thing that I love most about you is, and tell them. Here we go. While people are finishing up, let me ask you a question. How many of you, it felt really good to give a compliment? Okay? It may have been tough. How many of you, it felt really good to get an affirmation and a compliment? Yeah. You know, folks, what you did today should not be a once-a-year Father's Day tradition. We'll make that a habit every single day to look for the best. The whole love chapter, Corinthians 13, talks about love keeps no record of wrongs. And if you will look for the best in your spouse, in your kids, in your siblings, you will find not only will it change your attitude toward the Lord, it will change your attitude toward people. Remember this, that we put off a fragrance, the Bible says. You know, many of you have been around your husband or your dad when he's been out mowing all day long. And when they walk in, there's a smell that makes you run the other direction. It's called body odor. But you know what? I find out that when my wife, sometimes I have a perfume on and I'll walk past her. Hey, honey, whoa, I'm going to follow you. You know, there's something that draws you. And did you know that the Bible says we put off a fragrance? We either draw people toward us or we chase people away because of our words and actions. Make it a habit every day. The other thing I just want to say is many churches have fried preacher for Sunday lunch. But if you will learn to support your pastors and the staff, support them behind their backs and in front of other people, it'll change how people look at this church also. If you're a pastoral staff and spouse, would you stand up for a second? I want you to stand up. Pastoral staff and spouse. They're in the back, they're here. Congregation, would you show your appreciation of them today? Would you do that? How much you love them? I was an MK and a PK, and my mom and dad got constructive criticism. But when they got a letter or just a note or somebody coming up saying, I love what you've done, and just a letter of appreciation, it really meant a lot. So thank you for doing that. Hey, let me tell you real quick about our family. As I said, we probably have the greatest job in the world. We get to minister to kids all over the world. I honestly believe that if you change a child, you can change a family. You change a family, you change a community, you change a community, you can change the world. And I believe that we have to reach kids all around the world, and we get to minister. This year I will end up being in 10 or 11 countries, going in and sharing the gospel. You know what, instead of just telling you about it, let me show you a couple of pictures, just so you'll know. Of course, that's JJ and Debbie, JJ, Sadie, and Debbie. JJ and Sadie hate that picture because that's 6 years old. 7? Older, yeah. He just graduated from high school in May. So let me show you the next picture. I love going into the schools. And this is an up-close picture of a school in Kenya. Let me show you the far-away picture of the same thing. The schools are over 2,000 kids. And the neat thing is I can go into these schools, like in Kenya, and I can share the gospel through illusion, story, give an altar call, and we'll go in and do like 7 or 8 schools around a church that we've already trained everyone, invite all those school kids to come to a crusade, and that begins their children's church. That's why you'll find in Kenya children's churches of 1,500, of 1,200, of 800 kids, and because we get to minister to them. As I said, we can just walk right in and be able to share the gospel right there. But it's not just in Africa. The doors opened that let me tell you this real quick. The schools are free for people now. So you got Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, they're at the school. And here we were at a school. I didn't even know my wife caught this on video. But we're standing there, and Muslim girls, how many of you know that the Muslim faith is hard to break? But the easiest time to do it is when they're a child. And at the school, I began to share, and I shared about giving your trust and giving your life to Jesus. And standing in front of me were some Muslim girls with their hands crossed. And when I said, how many of you give your life to Jesus? They shook their head no. 2 girls looked at me defiantly and said no, and they turned to this girl and looked at her. And when they did, the girl looked at them, looked at me, dropped her hands, and accepted Jesus right there. You know, she came back the next day. I know the headmaster, and the girl was beat up profusely the next day because her parents had said, if you serve this God, we will kill you. Well, I just saw that girl a couple years ago, last year at the school, and when I got there, she ran up, put her arms around me, and I said, how are you? And she said, I'm still serving Jesus privately. And I thought, that is what it's about. You know, it's not just going into Africa, but it's going into places like China. And the thing I love about China is, well, I'm not supposed to share the gospel. I go in and do high moral value programs in China, Indonesia, many places where you aren't supposed to share the gospel. But then we go and do underground kids crusades. We set it up. The church people will walk out and say, hey, you guys want to see this guy who does illusions? And it gathers up hundreds of kids, knowing that if we get caught, we go to jail. But it's worth seeing kids give their life to Jesus. When we were at this place, the pastor gathered up the 75 kids who had given their life to the Lord, and he said, do you understand what you did? And a 13-year-old girl raised her hand and said, yes, Pastor, I've decided to follow Jesus, not Buddha. And I thought, yes, she got the message. You know what? We want to see every kid come to know Jesus. Go ahead. We want to see every kid. We have a TV show that reaches 20 million a week called Rainbow Surprise. It goes into Kenya, Tanzania, into Uganda, and God has opened the door. We get letters and texts from emails from Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, and when they say we've accepted Jesus Christ in the privacy of our home, we say, yes, God is getting through to them. It's so cool. You know, our main goal is to, go ahead, go past that one, is to see every kid around the world raise their hand and say, I want to accept Jesus. But can I tell you this, is that while I love to minister to the masses, God sees everyone as an individual. And not only are we here to help people spiritually, but I believe we're called to help people physically. And I want to share a video with you where we've gone in to help in a school where the government said, these handicapped kids are not worth our help. Let me show you what we're doing to change their lives.
I wasn't prepared for what I was about to see.
It literally took my breath away.
I couldn't hold back the tears.
I felt like I had to do something.
I've never seen a school like Joyland. As children's ministry specialist for the Assemblies of God, Debbie and I started KidLink International because we believe in linking kids to Christ spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I'll never forget the time that we went into Kisumu, Kenya, going into the schools, thousands of kids, and giving an altar call and seeing many kids come to the Lord, going in and doing a kids crusade in a squatter's village across from the Bible college. Over 5,000 kids, seeing over 3,000 kids give their life to the Lord. And we were touched at what God was doing. But I got a call asking if I would come and visit a school, a special school called Joyland. It's a school for the mentally and physically challenged kids. And I said, yeah, I'd love to come. And as we got to the school, Debbie and I and the kids, JJ and Sadie, we went in, waited in the hall for the children to come, and as the principal rang the bell, I wasn't ready for what was about to happen. Because all of a sudden I saw kids coming from everywhere. some being pushed in the few wheelchairs they had. But it was the kids that came crawling in the dirt, in the grass, because they did not have wheelchairs, they didn't have crutches. To see them crawl in, and to see even some of the mentally challenged people pushing those that were physically in need, and seeing these 242 kids gather in this room. And then before I got a chance to entertain for them and to speak to them, they began to sing for me, "The joy of the Lord is in my life. The joy of the Lord makes me smile." And I got to tell you that it took my wife's breath away. Sadie just couldn't control the tears. And as we watched them minister to us, I had a chance to minister back to them. But I was challenged at the fact that they need wheelchairs, they need crutches, and then to walk out over to their therapy pool and see that it was empty, no water. And I said to the principal, I said, "Arthur, why is there no water in this pool?" And he said, "Jay, we haven't had running water for 18 years. He said, "We are in desperate need of a water well." Well, I can tell you, to stand there and have my son look and say, "Dad, we've got to do something." And that's what this is all about. To realize this school that ministers the way God says to never forget the orphans, never forget them and give them what they need. You know, I'm used to the mass crowds and many people getting saved, but I believe that we also need to take care of the one or the two or the 242 that need to be touched physically. So right now, we need a water well. Not only do we need the water well, but we need also to have it set up so they have solar, because electricity is very hard to get. But to have solar and to have a 20,000 reserve water tank, and then to be able to take the piping into the bathrooms that have not had running water for 18 years. You see, we want to give them not only a spiritual touch, but we want to touch them physically. We want to be able to give them wheelchairs and crutches. But most of all, they have the living water of Jesus Christ in that school that was started many years ago by the Salvation Army. But we want to also give them physical water so that they can live and they don't have to walk 3 or 4 miles every single day to get water. Thanks for letting me share with you about one of the greatest schools I've ever seen, Joyland. Remember, we can change their life. Let's touch the future by what we do.
Type of things that our ministry, KidLink International, under the Assemblies of God, what we get to do. And I count it a privilege that I get to work with kids all over the world. You know, families are important to me, and families are important right here. I want to share a little bit more about dads and families and the time that we need to take to spend with our kids.
I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know, I'm gonna be like you. When you coming home, Dad? Thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. That's okay. I'm gonna be like him. Yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. I love you, Dad. And the cat's in the cradle and the when you coming home, Dad?
Don't know when we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then.
I'd run away from home, but I can't cross the street alone.
Well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and they said with a smile,
What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? Come on, dude, hurry up. Come on. Thanks. I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. Ciao, baby.
I've long since retired, my son's moved away. Called him up just the other day.
Hello?
I said I'd like
Oh, hi,
to
Dad.
see you if you don't mind. He said
I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, the new job's a hassle and the kids with the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. Yeah, it's nice talking to you. I gotta go, okay? I'm busy. Bye-bye.
And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me.
What do you want, son? No, I can't play. I'm busy. Oh, yeah, I'm doing important stuff. Now, go on. Go on, get your mom. What do you want? No, I'm busy. Get your mom to do it. She doesn't do anything. Shut the door. Good. I want to be like you, Mom. I want to be like you, Dad. It's things you hear your kids say. You know, it's amazing. A national magazine decided to give parents a grade card. And they asked kids to grade their parents. And you know what got the highest grade? It wasn't, my parents spent $100 on a bike, or my parents spent $300 on an Xbox. The thing that got the highest grade was, I love it when my parents spend time with me. You see, what we do for our kids are important, but what we do with them is what really makes a difference. And there are times that we've got to take the time, but we've got to make the time. But you know what? It's not only spending time with our kids, but you that still have your parents alive. And kids, the Bible talks about honoring your mother and father, looking for the best and letting them know. You know, today we celebrate Father's Day, one day out of the year. Mother's Day, one day out of the year. Do you realize that in America, pickles get honored for a whole week? What a comparison. But isn't it amazing the hours because of technology today? I see it in my own family. We can walk in and we can be sitting at a restaurant and I look over and everybody's got their phone out, including me, and realizing that communication breaks down many times. And then the hours that we find people watching television. It's amazing. The time that we think we're spending with our family. NBC a few years back went into 100 homes. They set up cameras in the house, and they first asked the dads, how much time do you spend in quality time with your kids every day? Not just behind a paper going, but quality time. And these 100 dads gave an average of around 127 minutes a night or day that they thought they gave to their kids. When they went through and taped everything for a month and put everything together, the average time that a dad spent in what they considered quality time was 47 seconds of spending time. You see, it's important. with so much around us that we learn to take the time. Because there's time for everything. And especially today, you think the TV's guide. I've got one of these at home, the TV's guide, the guide button right there that I can push my direct TV and watch anything I want to watch. I heard a poem that spoke to my heart. On the table, side by side, was the Holy Bible and the TV's guide. One was used daily to help folks decide. But it wasn't the Bible, it was the TV's guide. One is held and cherished with pride, but it wasn't the Bible, it was the TV's guide. Well, as the channels are turned, oh, what shall I see? Then confusion has started because they can't all agree what they would watch on the old TV. So they turn to the thing on which they relied. It wasn't the Bible, it was the TV's guide. And then there's nights for everything. There's bowling nights, bridging nights, nights on the town, nights for the circus and Bozo the Clown, night to stay home and to catch all the sights, blind spot, UFC, the fights. And then there's a night to be all alone, to be by myself and to let my hair down. But the nights for our families, they get lost in the rush, postpone it, ignore it. Who needs all that mush? Well, you do. And they do. We all do, Your family is really the seed that you sow. So use it or lose it from off of the shelf. Remember, it won't take care of itself. 15 years from now, it's not going to matter whether I got a big promotion or whether Debbie served cheese on the cauliflower, or whether I had a night out with the other missionaries. But it will matter, and it will matter deeply, the time that I take and the time that I make to spend and to call and to communicate with my family. And if you could hear your child, your young child crying out for their destiny, you hear their subconscious say, I am your child. Wherever you go, you take me too. Whatever I know, I learn from you. Whatever I do, you taught me to do. I am your chance. I am your child. Whatever may come will come from thee. Tomorrow is won by winning little ones like me. Whatever I am, you taught me to be. She is your chance. She is your hope. Yes, she is your child. God, teach us how to treat people and to raise our family the way you've called us to. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, honey. How many of you have ever been to a circus? The thing that I love about a circus is what I call a tightrope walker. I love to see the guy that gets up, or a lady up on a wire or a rope stretched between two poles or towers. And one day, someone challenged the greatest tightrope walker of all, the great Blondin, to come from France and to walk across the wire over the Niagara Falls. And he accepted the challenge. And on the day that it was supposed to happen, thousands of people lined both sides of the banks as they stared up at a wire over two towers. 167 feet above the edge of the falls and 267 feet above the crashing foam below. And at 2 o'clock on the scheduled day, the great Blondin stepped out onto one of the towers. And he looked out and he called out. He said, "How many of you believe that I can walk across this wire? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands, wave your hands." And they all waved. So he picked up the balance pole, tested the line, and started to cross. And as he got to the other side, people yelled and cheered. And he quieted them down and he said back to him, "How many of you believe that I can go back across this wire, this time pushing a wheelbarrow? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands, wave your hands." And they all waved. So he put the wheelbarrow on the line, started across. And as he got to the other side, people yelled and cheered, and he quieted them down, and he said back to them, "How many of you believe that I can go back across this wire, this time pushing a wheelbarrow, but with someone in that wheelbarrow? If you believe I can do it, wave your hands, wave your hands." And they all waved, and he quieted them down. And he said back to him, "All right, if you really believe I can do it, then someone come and get in the wheelbarrow." And you know, in real life, not one person moved. Were they scared, frightened? Could be. But they said they believed. You see, there's a big difference in saying you just believe in something and putting it into action. Do you realize that they would have had to put their life in the hands of the great Blondin? They would be putting their life on the line. I got to tell you, there are people I've seen go to church and say, "Yeah, I believe in God," but the scripture says that even the demons believe and tremble. What makes a difference? It's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, knowing that He will hold you and keep you from ever falling. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. This morning, let Him hold you. Let Him hold your family. Let Him make a difference today. God, I thank You this morning. I thank You for every person that's here, God. And Lord, I pray that if there are some here today that would say, "You know what? I've tried to cross the line on my own, and I keep falling." God, there's some here that have reached for a high, and it always ends up in a low. God, would You just speak to their life today to let them know that if they trust You, You will hold them, and they will never fall again. God, even in the times of trouble, You're there to walk through it with us. God, on this Father's Day, I thank You, Father God, for sending Jesus for us. And I pray that if there's someone here today that does not have a personal relationship with You, that today they'll say, "I need You in my life." While your eyes are closed, and I'm almost done, just about a minute more. If you're here this morning and you would say, "Jay, I really don't have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, but today I want to give Him a chance in my life. I want God to just erase everything in my past, and I need Jesus to guide me. I want to put my life in His hands." If that's you, and you do not have a relationship with Him today, but you're saying, "I need that today," then all I want you to do is to look up at me while everyone else's heads are bowed. Just look at me and put a hand up just so I can see you for a second, and then you can put it down. "Yes, sir, I see that." Somebody else, you're saying, I need that relationship with him. I don't have that. You may have served him in the past, but you've gotten away. And you realize that today you need to come back home to him. Is there somebody else? Just look at me, put a hand up. I'm not going to embarrass you, I promise. Yes, sir. Thank you. Somebody else? Yes, sir. Thank you. Somebody else, you're saying, I need him today because I don't have him. Just look at me and let me just barely see your hand so I know that you're talking to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You know what? Right where you sit, I'm going to ask you to do something with me. I'm going to ask you just to say a prayer with me. And you that love the Lord and you have a relationship, would you say this to give the others confidence as they say this too? But right where you sit, just say this with me. Dear Lord, I thank you for your love. I thank you that you care for me. I ask you to forgive me of everything I've done wrong. Forgive me of my sin. Forgive me of my past. And I ask Jesus to come into my life, to guide me and direct me, to show me the right way to live. I trust you, Jesus, and I give you my life. Thank you, God. You have forgiven me. You have washed me clean, and I am now your child. No longer belonging to Satan, but I belong to you. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. As simple as that was, if you meant what you just prayed, you are a child of God. I want you to know Satan's thrown a fit because he's lost hold of you. Let this be the beginning, understanding that he will walk with you wherever you go. It doesn't matter what's been in your past. Oh, if God only knew, he does. But a sin is a sin, and he has forgiven it, and he's forgotten it. Welcome to God's family. Let's give them a clap. God bless you.
Amen. What a great morning. Amen. Thank you so much for being here. Let's give Jay a hand, shall we? Thank you for being here. I know time has gotten away from us. Today is Father's Day. I know many of you have plans, but I want to do this before you leave. I'm going to have the ushers. Would you assemble yourselves at the doors, the back doors? Would you take out your wallet? I want to give something to Jay today. When he said something about the underground kids crusades, going into countries like that and giving to this, to the well there at Joyland, we need to participate in that. I don't know about you, but that excites me as a pastor and as a pastor of this church to give something like that, because that's who we are. Amen. So would you find it in your heart to give something today to this ministry? You can make your checks out to Cornerstone. We want to give a check to Jay before he leaves. He's going to be doing a kids camp this week. But thank you so much for being here. Would you stand to your feet? Again, thank you so much. If you have a mug, you're going to get it filled outside. We've got root beer floats for everybody. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. We'll see you next Sunday.